dream has come true.
Thank you. Thank you. Such an amazing experience. In order to continue the list of questions, I would ask you, what qualities do you think a teacher should instill in a student while working with them?
It's a very good question, actually. As I said before, well, when I spoke with you guys a while back ago, we're now in 2020. It's 2020 now. So things are changing. Everything is changing around us as well. And teaching is one thing that needs to change as well. Not just, you know, always books, 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 or follow this little plan here, or we have to do it this way. No, no, no. I think now that we are now starting a new age, there's a new era, and a lot of new students are coming in with just different mindsets. Their creativity is just big, it's beautiful, it's massive, okay? But however, some teachers, I understand, we come from different backgrounds, we come from different settings in classrooms. Some teachers say, no, I want to shape the student a certain way. That's no longer the case now. For me, now it's just, what do you want to do? Do it. What do you want to do? Do it. You shape yourself. I'm only going to stand in front of the classroom and teach and give you the knowledge. You will take that knowledge and form it and shape it yourself. I will always just stand in the front of the classroom, talk, show them something funny, make them laugh, make them enjoy, make them realize that learning is fun. However, whatever I give you, whatever knowledge I feed onto you, again, you shape it yourself. You grab all that knowledge and you just shape it yourself. Whether you want to make it big, make it small, keep it calm, whatever, it's you. I want those students to now leave out of that school saying, wow, you know, I don't have to always just be like this. I don't always have to just walk, dress, or think like this. No, 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 no. I want these students to shape themselves, to be free, to be open, to realize that, you know what, it's not always about the book, about this paper. No, it's about how you take that bit of knowledge, expand it, or keep it short. You shape it however you want. For me, that's always been my biggest vision about students. I am no longer, I used to be, yes, no, like this, gotta do it like this, gotta do it like this. But then ever since I came out to China and I started learning new things, started learning more about our IB, the International Baccalaureate that we are into, the PYP, Primary Years Program, we learned that each student grows and develops his or her own way. We want them to grow his or her own way. We should never stand in front of the classroom, and we should never tell a student that it has to be this way. That already kills the point of education. That already destroys a student's mind and knowledge. If we stand in front of the classroom, we teach those kids, but allowing them to take that bit of knowledge and just shape it yourself. Let them shape it themselves. Let them get that knowledge and just either, again, make it grow, keep it simple, but allow them to be who they want to be as students. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. Yeah, teaching is not about shaping and dictatorship over the growing up personality. Teaching is about cultivating their inner potential and letting them bloom in the long run. So very great, very awesome points of view. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. And what qualities and values do you think a teacher should raise in a student?
Well, again, we have different types of students. We have students coming in that have their own personality, as we would say. They have their own facade. Okay, we have students coming in who come from, let's say, you know, a great, wonderful family, but then we have students that probably don't come from just what we call a great family, I guess we would say. Every student, again, comes in and we have different attitudes, different personalities, everyone is different. All these students are different. And with that, that's how a teacher will know how to how to handle each student, right? If I have a student here who just cannot focus, cannot do just the right thing, then you as a teacher need to drop down a level or two and help the student out. Help them figure out and help them shape themselves to be a great learner as well. Of course, every student is different. We have some students that are just way ahead of themselves, just they're top grade, but then we have some students that are down here. Again, you just have to think, how can I balance all these kinds of students? How can I balance it as a teacher? Okay. Of course, again, I'm not always just going to stand in the front of the classroom and just say, if this is a square, it has to be a square. No, I could tell them, get this square and do whatever you want with it. Okay. Whether the top student can create something massive, whether the weak student can maybe just do something with it, doesn't matter. Let that student, let those kids grow. Let them handle themselves. Okay. This is how we as teachers know that we're doing a good job. And again, some of the younger teachers that are coming fresh out of college, getting their certificates and credentials, I hope and pray that you guys can be a bit more open. Not just always follow what's on the book or that big fat binder with all the lesson plans from previous years from some teacher that wrote that long ago. Let's just throw all that out the window and just open our doors, open our minds. Because if a teacher is open, then all the students will be open like their teacher. And that being said, they will also be extremely open-minded, and they will, again, grow at his or her own pace. They will grow and they will shape themselves as a human that they're supposed to be. Not something that's controlled, not something like they're not robots. Okay, these are human beings that will grow and stretch and do and make their living their way. Whether it's good or bad, they will grow. And we want them to grow on their own. Thank you.
Freedom of choice is important.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I've heard from many people very different ideas of where should the child be taught of human values like kindness and respect to others, freedom of choice, for example. Where should the child be taught for these things? Teachers are responsible. Are teachers responsible for this only, or only parents, or is it mutual work with the parent and teachers? So I just really wanted to know about your opinion about it.
Okay, yes. Well, growing up, I'm gonna just give you a little bit of my experience growing up. My mother, may she rest in peace. My mother was a strict mom. Yes, growing up. Her example of us, she was a disciplinarian. With her is wherever you go, you must greet everyone, whether you like them or not, you have to greet them. Whether you don't want to talk to them or not, you have to greet them. So her thing was always discipline. It starts at home. And yes, she shaped all three of my brothers to be who we are today. Of course, the spankings and correcting us and reading through our little eyes and everything. She was definitely one of those people that always taught us that being disciplined is a very important thing, both in the house and outside the house. Like I tell many people here in China as well. I always tell them, I know my mom was strict. I know, she would tell us, hey, either you behave yourself or wait until we get home. And for me, I'm always thankful for that because it shaped me for who I am today as a person. I'm not in the streets. I have a job. I have a house. I'm well educated. So I'm thankful for that. Now, as for today's generation of children, today's just example of children that we have, I understand that the fear that some parents have of trying to discipline their child, and the fear that if I discipline too much, that they will lose their child. And I always tell them, no, don't have that fear. Because even if you don't discipline your child, you will still lose your child. Okay? For me, I guess when I'm teaching, when I was teaching kindergarten, I was the disciplinarian in my classroom. I put my foot down and I told the kids, it's either my way or you're not going to play. I remind the kids that here in this school, I will teach you to respect. And I've had some students, and actually I've had some of my colleagues always tell me, hey, you had these kids, right? Yeah, well, they're so well behaved. And I'm like, you're welcome, because I put my foot down in that class. I reminded them every day of what it's going to be like when you continue to grow. Now, I've had some parents, yes, I've had some parents approach me and ask me, can you teach them how to behave in public? Like, they teach me that. But my response is, well, technically, it's your job as a parent. Technically speaking, you as a parent need to teach these kids how to behave before you bring them into my classroom, before you drop them off into your classroom. Now, I always hear this excuse, always. It's just, I don't have time. The grandparents are raising them, or the auntie, or someone is doing something. However, I always remind them, it's like, well, at the end of the day, you're the one that had this kid, and you're the one that needs to raise them. You're the one that needs to set the example for them. I've had students, of course, but for me, because again, I was raised in a disciplined household, where if my mother said, be home by 10, that means 10, not 10 with a little second on the end. No, 10. If not, then that's it. As a matter of fact, she'll even change the locks on the door right on that spot if she had the power to do so. But again, for me, I've always said that it's a parent's job to discipline and educate their children. And of course, we do have some parents that don't believe in that, and they're still in their traditional mind where like, well, technically it's a teacher's job to do so. However, have you ever taken the time to think, wait a minute, so what is Rene's discipline rules, or how does Rene discipline? And that's where it kind of gets difficult, where some kids will realize, or some kids will go home and tell their parents that Rene was just strict, so mean to us. And when parents come like, well, first of all, you told me you wanted me to discipline your children, but you never asked me what are my rules of discipline. And I've said it before, I am a disciplinarian. I am strict because I want the best out of these kids. I've seen teenagers grow, and what a disaster. I've taught middle school as well, middle school and high school, where, wow, I sometimes ask myself, who is raising you? Because if those words came out of my mouth, and if my teacher called my mom, let's just say I wouldn't be here talking to you today. And honestly speaking, I hope, as again, the younger generation that are becoming parents, that you remember and you remind yourself, raise your child. I always told myself, when I have children in the future, I won't drop them off with my parents. I won't drop them off with my mother, my in-laws. No, I had this child. I raised this child, and I want to raise them my way, or the highway, as we would say. So again, I'm always just thinking like, wait, how do we get these? And sometimes I've had children that are out of control. I've had them. And some parents even say, what did you do that he at home, he is calm, he's quiet, and he actually listens? And I say, well, sometimes you have to put your foot down sometimes. And I don't want to like create any tension about this, but I think I've saved more of that, like just a discipline towards the male students. I've never had an issue with a female student. It was mostly the male students that I've always had issues with. And when I sometimes discipline them, it's like I asked all the girls, leave the classroom for a few minutes because I'm about to give the boys an earful. And I've had some students some of the boys go home and tell their parents, why does Rene like the girls, but he doesn't like the boys? Some parents do realize, well, how have you been behaving that Rene has to discipline you guys and not the girls? And again, I've had some parents will approach me, ask me, Rene, what did you do? Like how, like what? And I always remind them, well, again, you have to raise your child. You have to set your foot down. You have to set the rules. You have to make your charts, do the things that you have to do to keep this kid active. to keep this kid calm. Because again, they're going to grow up. They're going to realize that, oh, well, my mom doesn't do anything to me, so I can stay out late. I can go out and party. I can do whatever I want. I always told them, you have to start them young. There was a little formal complaint about a parent. She said that she thought I was being too strict. I guess I was a bit rude to her, and I told her, I've had 10 years of teaching experience. Your words mean nothing to me, because at the end of the day, I'm raising your child, because when he or she goes to primary school, I don't want my colleagues to be messaging me, telling me, why does this child misbehave? Or why is this problem? And I would say, well, his mom prevented me from being a disciplinarian and teaching this child how to behave. Today, I'm sitting down in a primary school now. I'm teaching grade 1. And I do have some students that are a bit out of control. Those are always my favorite, because I will shape them into soldiers by the end of the semester. But just because I discipline these kids doesn't mean that I don't allow them to think and shape themselves the way they are. For me, I'm always just reminding them, whether you are at home, whether you're in public or in school, just remember how to behave. Because people will be watching you. People will watch you. And that's what my mother will always say, calm down, because people are watching you. And sometimes we live with that attitude where, like, I don't care what others think of me because this is who I am. But just remember that today, technology exists. Lots of things exist that can make you go viral or something. But of course, I always think that parents should discipline their children, even when they're a year old or 2 or any age, doesn't matter. It starts at a young age. That way the student can grow and understand that wherever you are, whether it's in public, in school, or wherever, you have to behave yourself. You have to act like a decent human being. And I like to do that with my kids as well. Show them videos of just bad examples. Show them videos of just different kinds of bad examples. And I just question them. What do you think? Excuse me, what do you think? And that's where you leave them like, oh, wow. One kid even admitted, oh, I did that one time. I was like, well, there you go. How do you feel now? Now that you saw this video, how do you feel? Right there. He's like, okay, I feel bad. There you go. Don't do it again. And of course, again, children are like sponges. They're going to absorb all this. They're going to learn all this. And right now, these students are grade 3 students now. And one of my colleagues she told me that they're so well sad. They're so well behaved. They listen. Like, what did you do? And I'm like, because I started it at a young age. I disciplined them at a young age. That's how they learn. If you don't start them at a young age, you will lose this kid. And I remind parents as well, if you don't start disciplining now, you will lose this kid. And don't get me wrong, I understand. Maybe if you might have had some family members, I know I have. I've had some family members who are just completely gone and we've lost them completely for the lack of discipline at home. So again, for all the new parents that are starting to have children or adopting children or just whatever, raise your own child. You raise them. No one else should raise your own child. And it's not a teacher's job to discipline their children, your children. But if it comes down to that level, it won't be pretty, as we would say. For me, it won't be pretty, especially because I grew up in a disciplined house and I will discipline children the Latino way, as we would say it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rene. You just told about discipline in the process of studying, and I want to ask you how you, what is, in your opinion, the simplest method to interest student in learning of foreign language?
Learning a foreign language, yes.
How to inspire it?
How to inspire it. Well, here it goes again. As I told some other colleagues as well, as I told some of my family members as well, being a kindergarten teacher means that you also have to be a kindergarten teacher. I understand there are some students, I've heard it before. Some students always say, I don't want to learn a language. I don't want to learn English. I don't want to learn this new language. I know, and it breaks my heart to hear it because once upon a time, I said those words as well. When I had to, my parents wanted me to learn a little bit of Chinese. And once upon a time, I do remember saying, I just don't want to learn this. But then again, I was a teenager. I was already entering that phase. So for the younger ones, for the younger kids, sometimes you just have to drop down to their level. Sometimes you just have to drop down to their level. Of course, I was teaching the age range 4 to 5 year olds. And sometimes I just have to drop down to their level. Sometimes you just have to drop down. And when I was teaching some older kids, I had to really drop down to the maturity level. I know I'm in my 30s and you should just see me in the classroom. Sometimes I go wild in there. For the kindergarten setting, of course, I try my best to make them laugh. I try my best to just keep them active, keep them moving. When I'm reading a story, I don't just read the story straight through. I'm doing different voices. I make the students stand up and do some actions with me, make them repeat words with me. The thing is that you want to spark their interest the first time. You want to make sure you catch that child's interest on your first try. Okay. For me, every kindergarten class, I'm just always, again, I drop down to just the immaturity level. I just drop down and just start going crazy. You know, from jumping on a chair to jumping off a chair to just doing some crazy movements and crazy dances to go with the alphabet or to go with any English lesson I'm doing. I have to keep that class active and alive and happy. Okay, because I understand some kids are being forced to learn. And that goes back again to like how parents want to shape their children. And later I'll discuss that. But for me, it's like, okay, welcome to my classroom. I'm not just your typical, 30-year-old English teacher that's gonna just stand there and say, please say apple. No, I will get down on that floor and be like, all right, everyone, grab your apple. All right. A, P, 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 L, E, I will just do multiple things to grab their attention. Sometimes I would be like, all right, here's an apple, but it's an orange. And the kids will start laughing like, no, like, oh my God, sorry. Like, you just have to drop down to their level. You have to kind of like just drop down. I was a substitute teacher for our bilingual primary section. This is grades 1 through 6. I was first teaching grade 4, grade 5, and grade 6. Now, these are older kids. And as you know, as they get older, the workload becomes more serious. They have to sit there. They have to like constantly listen to their teacher, just blah, 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 blah. I walked into that classroom. I'm like, all right, guys, let's do this. I just went crazy in that classroom. The kids were laughing. They were just happy. They were just happy because they had a teacher that wasn't going to control them, wasn't going to just keep them on their chairs. They had a teacher that would walk in and just make them stand up, clap, sit down, move around, answer some questions. Here and there, maybe I'll find like one student to pick on for just get those kids laughing. I guess right now for education, you're missing the point already. I understand that, yes, we have a system to follow. We have all these books and all these things that we have to follow. But have you ever thought about what do they want? And again, for me, when I'm teaching them English, I have to make them laugh. I have to keep them there. I have to keep the students' interest. I cannot just, here it is, everyone, yay. No, I have to do something to keep them happy. How do I keep, and I've had students go home and they just tell their parents, wow, like today in English class, a teacher made it fun. They just made it fun. And I'm going to go to one of my students I had a few years ago. He is math smart. This kid's just a math genius. Before I started the class, I showed them the work. I just put the worksheet on the whiteboard. I don't know what went through my mind. I was like, all right, I just wanted to just show them. But this boy stood up and just shouted the answers. He just shouted all the answers. But just by one look, he shouted all the answers. From there, that boy just said, I'm done. And he left the classroom. Right then and there, I realized, great, I lost one kid because I didn't make this class fun for him. I immediately put the worksheet on the board. I totally forgot that he was a math genius. He's just math crazy. He loves math. And the other kids were like, oh, well, we already know the answers and we want to go with him. So it's like, okay, I lost those kids that day. I lost them because, again, I failed to make this class fun. So every time I start a lesson, every time I do something, I have to make sure that I have these kids engaged. I want them to be engaged. I want them to know that, you know what, guys, English isn't always about putting a sentence together or figuring out the correct grammar, terminology. No, guys. English is all about fun. I want you guys to have fun. I want you guys to enjoy it. I want you guys to know that learning a second language is fun. And I understand I'm not sure about you guys, but there are other people that, hey, I want to learn Spanish, but I don't know, it's just too difficult. It's like, it's not difficult. It's just that you don't have a teacher that's willing to drop down to just a bit of an immaturity level to make the class fun. Excuse me. Okay? Just make the class fun. And that's what I always do in my classroom. If I want my kids to be engaged in learning this beautiful language, I have to also drop down a level. I have to make it fun. I have to make sure that these kids are going to love this language. Now, I understand that they will only have me for a year. I don't know what's going to happen when they go to the next level or the next few years. But at least I can say that I took my time to make the English learning environment fun. And that's how I like to grasp my children. Just make it fun for them. Make learning fun.
Thank you so much for the answer. And we a little bit short in time, so we would like to go to the next topic. Thank you very much for your answers. I think it's like very interesting for people who teaching, who also have teaching experience, and it's really nice. And I would like Mahinur to introduce the project Creative Society. Could you please?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So within the project Creative Society and the foundations and stage for building the Creative Society on ALLATRA TV China, there was an article where it describes 8 main foundations of the Creative Society. The very first stage in building a creative society is the information stage. In the article mentions it's about informing humanity of the creative society. Each concerned human can inform the maximum number of people about the creative society. This is what many honest and decent people from different countries of the world are actively doing now. You can read it all on the ALLATRAunites.com and find out more about it. So, yeah.
May I add just a few words about the project?
Yeah, sure.
So Creative Society, it's a project, it's a fundamental project of ALLATRA International Public Movement. Creative Society, it's we are people from all over the world. First of all, we made a big, huge conference by ourselves, by people in different countries, in different cities. We all gathered in one place, like online at one time, and we discussed very important topics, very important issues of nowadays society, such like wars, conflicts. Some countries don't have enough food. Some countries have climate crisis. All these very huge issues, and we decided to start to talk. So this is how this idea came out. And the next step, we decided to ask every person on the planet, in what society you would like to live. If we understand that a consumer way of society is not appropriate for human being, if human being cannot be the first value in society, in consumer society, so then what kind of society we all together should build, how it looks like, so we could live happily in this society. So we would like to ask these questions also you. It's a very deep and broad question. So you may answer how you think, you may describe, you may imagine it, you may feel it. So the first question, in what society you would like to live? In society where you, your loved ones, and every person on the planet will be happy.
Wow. Wow. Sounds like a dream that I've always wanted to express. And honestly speaking, a society where, I guess, where the word happy, where the word happiness can just be the first thing you think about when you wake up and before you go to, and the last thing before you go to sleep. Times are changing. Everything is changing. I understand. And for me, as I'm continuing to get older and older, and I wouldn't want the younger generation to see what we have today. It breaks my heart. It's very heartbreaking to see that the younger generation is seeing and witnessing such sadness, such heartbreak. But we all know that at the end of the tunnel, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. There's always going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. And I think for me, just a world, I'm not going to say society, I'm going to say a world with no walls. A world with just, where everyone can just smile and be happy. A world where we can just greet everyone in a more brother or sisterly way. A world where we can just all coexist as one. Again, no landmines, no borders, no security checks, nothing. Just, can we just all get along? How hard is it to just get along? And I understand that when we are growing up, we form friendships, we form enemies, but I guess we forget to think, what is behind all that? What's behind all that? What's behind our friendships and what's behind our enemies? We forget to think about these small things. Honestly speaking, I just hope that, again, I just want a society where just the first thing you wake up to is happiness. And before you go to bed, you think about happiness. Right now, people always ask, I've been told, like, when will you have children? Or when will you start having kids? My response is always, the day the world just stops the way they are, the day the country, all countries, everyone just takes that one step back and just happiness from left to right, north, south, east, west, just the day everything is light into this world. Children to grow to right. I hope and pray that in the future or whatever, if I wake up tomorrow, I hope it happens, or I know it's not going to happen anytime soon, but I hope and pray that, again, when you wake up to happiness. And before you go to sleep, you at least know that entire day, then full 12 hours of your just amazing day is just happiness. And you go to sleep happy. Take away every single bit of pain, every sorrow, every sadness, everything. And I just want happiness. From left to right, and just world peace. But again, it's just a dream. But I know that in the future, when the younger generation grow and rise, they would step in and they would change everything. And that's what I hope and pray, that the younger generation realize that wow, we do live in a society where it's just not good. If the younger generation can rise and just prove that, you know what, love, friendship, companionship, everything can just be happiness, and take away all these borders, take away all these just ocean borders, country borders, visas, whatever, and just freely let everyone just be happy. That's it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, actually, totally agree with your thoughts. There should be no borders, and the only thing that triggers us to live on is this like boiling happiness inside us, like outwards, right? And actually, what you said, that the younger generation would make it one day in the future, it factually could be done by us, by this current generation, and it's not so much hard as our mind like describes. And in order for it to happen, first of all, yeah, as it was already done, we all had to know like in what kind of society we would like to live. And after gathering the information from people all around the world in what sort of society they would like to live. The professionals from different different spheres, different jobs of our life, they have gathered and they have built up this sort of like 8 foundations of building the creative society. That is the bridge to the ideal society. Where everyone is just like happy and nothing more, like happy and feeling confident in the future, in our tomorrow. So now I would like to read the titles of 8 foundations of the creative society. The first one is human life. The second one is human freedom, and then human safety, and transparency and openness of information for all. The 5th one is the creative ideology. And then the 6th one is development of personality. And then the foundation number 7 is justice and equality. And the foundation number 8 is self-governing society. So if you would like, we would like you ask to discuss one or each of these foundations which you like to give your opinion, to give your idea about them, like how you would like to imagine, or how you would imagine these foundations to be realized in our very recent future by us.
Can you put it back up again, please?
The picture? Okay, yeah.
I like these 8 humanity fundamentals here that we have. Wow. Human life, human freedom, human safety, transparency and openness of information for all, creative ideology, development of personality, justice and equality, self-governing society. This is a hard one, to be honest. It is, because of course everyone has their own opinion about this, and this is the whole point of this. I would begin with, of course, human safety. And of course I would always think about, I guess, where I grew up, where I lived in a city where it's kind of like a divide in the city, where each area had its own gang. For example, at a certain area, you cannot wear a red T-shirt or they will kill you there. Or in my area, so-and-so were not allowed to do or talk, or just small little things like that. So human safety for me is, again, going to sleep, not worried about what's going to happen the next day, or not worried about what's going to happen during the night. For me, I wish that, again, that everyone around the world is just safe. Just safety for everyone. I don't know. I understand everyone's psychological mentality is just different. We all are shaped differently. We all grow up different. We all are different. But again, how I would feel for those walking down the street. Sometimes, yeah, even me, for example, as a foreigner in another country, I sometimes have my own fears as well as I'm walking down the streets. Who knows if there's someone that maybe doesn't like foreigners, or maybe someone that just, you know, doesn't like, I guess, the way I look. We always have that. But I do hope and pray that the world can just have safety. Whether it's just from walking from your house to the corner to buy a piece of bread, or allowing your children to play on the streets, that their safety, okay, is just the importance for everyone. Not just the children, but just people worldwide. Their safety is just important. Can you pull that up one more time, please? Sorry. I'm going to add to that. With that safety, I will also like to add, let me see.
The picture?
Yeah, the picture. Sorry, the picture. Can you put the picture up one more time? Sorry. I was just waiting for it.
Alexander, can you please show it to us? Картинку, пожалуйста.
Yeah. So, with human safety, there we leave to self-governing society, where, of course, do we need a governor? Do we need a president? Do we need a monarchy to tell us what to do or how to do things? Now, this is what's happening today in today's society, where the fear of just being governed, being controlled, which, I mean, for me, I mean, that's not a problem with me. I enjoy living a life with rules, because rules is what keeps me safe as a human being, one, and these governments and everything. But however, yes. How would we live in a life where we don't have these governors, these people running our countries? How would we feel? Will we feel safe? Will we not feel safe? Again, that all depends on just how people act, think, and react differently. And with that being said, justice and equality. That everyone is treated equally. That everyone, when they're getting justice, that everything is just equal all the way across. Okay? It's not just always that, oh, men will get it worse, women will get it less, or vice versa. Women are going to just get a terrible punishment, men don't. Just equally. Why can't everything just be equal? Why can't we just live in a society where everything is just balanced? From salaries to living to just how people want to live. How can we keep everything equal? Safe, equal, and self-governed. That's it.
Thank you. And if to go back to how you envision creative society, I mean, we would like to ask you a little bit more about conditions of this society. So how to make what conditions should be so everyone could wake up, and the aim will be just to be more and more happier every day. So we would like to ask you, how do you think how medicine and education should function in this society? Should it be free? How it should work?
I like this question. So I believe, yes, that it should be free. Why would anyone prevent a human being from healing, whether it's a small thing, a small little finger bruise, or twisted my elbow or something? I wish, yes, for medicine to be free for everyone. Again, why should a human being have a long, big bill? Why? Why should they? Why does it cost so much to heal a human being? And not just a human being. I'm also going to pick on animals as well, because I'm an animal person as well. Why should it be so expensive for me to walk down the street just to get a checkup? Why should it cost so much money to take a child or my elderly grandmother or my parents to get a checkup? Why? Why should everything cost? Why are you preventing a human being or an animal from getting healed properly healed. It shouldn't cost. I believe it shouldn't cost at all. I know today, recently, my grandmother passed away. And my family had a massive bill as well. And for me, it hurts. It hurts because it's like we're trying to keep a human being alive, but we can't because you keep on adding and adding and adding to this bill. You keep on adding and adding and adding to this bill. I've seen people just do fundraisers, trying to make money just to help someone. Why? Why do we need to drop down that low? Why can't everything just be free? Again, this is a human being we're talking about. Whether it's a child to an elderly, this is a human being we're talking about. And to add to that, for education, I believe that yes, education should be free. It should be free. It should be free. Why should we have to spend, I don't know, millions of dollars for then later to finish and what? Then what? Did you get your career? Did you not get your career? I've had friends who finished their careers and they still can't land that one job they always want, or they're still doing something that they just are not happy with. And you have all of these loans, all of these payments just piling up on you. I always believe that education should be free. I believe that, again, and I'm going to go towards our nurses and doctors, our frontliners. Nurses and doctors who are in the front of the line, they definitely should get an education for free. Because they're the ones that are going to be stepping up to the curve and risk their lives to help a human being. And with that being said, it shouldn't cost money to just give someone penicillin or give someone their whatever they need to heal them. It shouldn't cost. Worldwide, understand, new medicine is coming out, new ideas, a lot of new things are coming out. But why? Why do I have to spend so much money just for this one little drop of vaccine? Or just for this one little drop of penicillin to keep me alive, keep me stable? It shouldn't cost. Again, you are talking about a human being. A human like you and me. A person that breathes, a person that lives, a person that walks, things. Why? Why do we have to charge them? Why does it cost money? I always ask myself this question. There were times, yes, where when I was in college, if I got sick, it's like, well, I can't go to the hospital because it's going to cost me. And so I'd rather just buy something quick to heal me. But then again, would it fully heal me? No. Would it do it right away? No. But I still have to eat. I still have to put gas in my car to go to work. Why? Why do I have to spend so much money on medicine? Where can I just walk in and say, hey, I'm not feeling well, something's wrong. Here we go. Take this and you'll be fine. Why should it cost? Why? From a child to an elderly to an animal, medicine should just be free. Education as well, because without education, if you're going to be charging people to go study, they're going to be more worried about the money problem than to be focusing on their career and their education. One of my roommates as well, I do remember how I know she wanted to focus on her studies, but she couldn't just pay the rent. School cost her a lot of money already, but she couldn't afford that extra money to pay rent. And all that energy that she was building, she was putting her studies aside. All that stress about like money, education costing us so much, taking every penny from our pocket. Again, why? Why do we have to pay for it? And again, education is a choice. If you finish high school and you wish to continue on, so be it. I understand. School isn't for everyone. Not everyone was meant for school. And I don't expect you to have your career in the four years when you're done, or 3 years, or 6, whatever you're aiming for. You can take your time with it as well. But again, do you have to pay all that amount of money just for a little certificate to get you a job? It should be for free. I believe medicine and education should be for free. Because again, these are human beings. We're people. We are people. Okay? We're all the same. We all beat. We all have a heart. We all breathe. We all walk. We all move. We are humans. Okay?
Thank you, Rene.
Yes.
You inspire a lot of people, including us. And what are the ways we can invite your colleagues within education or your friends in our interview to become a next speaker of our live translation? Maybe now they know whom we can invite.
Well, I haven't found anyone yet because we're back at work already. And right now, because we have a really, really busy schedule. So I'll try my best to find someone. So I think for me will be, I have 3 colleagues that are in South Africa at the moment, which I wish to share this information with them as well. Once they get back, because South Africa, their Wi-Fi is not that good. So once they get back to China and they have their Wi-Fi, I would definitely invite them to come out and speak out. They can definitely give you their insight from their country as well. I'm not sure if you guys had a South African interviewer yet or not, but it would be nice to have them. They're very wonderful and open-minded people. I've worked with them as well. So I do hope and pray that I get someone from there as well. I have 3 of them that I'm really interested in. I hope all 3 of them would step up and do their interviews as well. Yes.
Thank you so much. And one more thing, it shouldn't be from the sphere of education. It could be from any sphere of our society. So just welcome to invite your close people and friends who are really interested in changing our world to the better, and who is not who is not ignorant to our current society.
Definitely. And I think I also have a few other people in America as well that should be interested in this as well. A few educators as well. Yes.
Nice.
Perfect.
The chain of educators.
Yeah. Yes.
Traditional broadcast.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much also. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your opinion. It's very, very significant. And we are keeping in touch. And we would like to say just a few words for our viewers that you may join us. You may also participate. ALLATRA movement, it's a volunteer movement. All our broadcast is also volunteer broadcast. And you may just write on our email, which is allatraunites.com, or you may find it below the video. We also have websites, allatraunites.com, and we have also a website in China. You may also find it. It's ALLATRA CN. So please join us, and let's inform all the humanity about possibility of creating creative society. And see you next broadcast.
See you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.